Welcome, everybody, to Go For Side Effects. I'm your host, Kevin Simon. You all know my lovely co-host, John. How are you doing?
I'm going fine. Doing fine,
We
thanks.
we have brought back Jannetta, who is a veteran service officer, and I tell you what, I'm going to give you props before anything. Before we start, you're probably one of the best veteran service officers I know.
I love it. I love every day of doing this. And, I hope I just can spread the love and make other veteran service officers better. Because a lot of it is just figuring it out, education and mentoring, which I do a lot of.
Yes,
And yeah.
and you're very knowledgeable. And so
Yeah.
getting to the knowledgeable part of it right now, um, I know you wanted to bring up a few things first before we get into questions and stuff like that. So go ahead. Talk about what you want to talk about other veterans resource stuff.
Yeah. So there's a few benefits that I want to make veterans aware of that they may not be aware of. And one is the HISA grant through VA healthcare. And that is a grant. It can be anywhere from $2,000 to $6,000 to renovate your home so that you can stay in it longer. So a lot of the HISA grants that I write are for walk-in showers, right? With a bench. So that's really important. So they historically have been facilitated through the prosthetics at VA healthcare, but I think that's changing as things do. So for all the veterans out there, I would reach out to either your nurse on your care team and ask them about it, or the social worker at your VA, community-based healthcare clinic. But it's a fantastic resource that you can use with your own resources, or here in Iowa, a lot of times I utilize that grant with the Iowa Trust Fund, which also helps pay for those things, because we kind of all know that $6,000 isn't going to cover a bathroom remodel. So we a lot of times can partner those two grants together to get the veterans the access they need, for
You said
showers.
HISA, so HISA, yes? HISA?
Yep,
Am I doing that right?
HISA. Yep.
Okay.
And see, what's
All
funny
right.
about that is a lot of vets don't realize, like, even like, let's say I'm going to apply for allowance on my shoes because my shoes that I buy are very expensive because I
Right,
have
because you have neuropathy.
neuropathy. And
Yes, you
so,
get to pay for that.
and then the other thing also, so they send you a list, everybody. I know when you get that big stupid packet that has 5 million things that you do not want to read it all. You'll be very surprised. So Janetta, I'm sitting up at the VA at my neuro appointment, and I look up on the screen at the Houston VA, and it comes up there and says, "Are you a veteran in need of service of a will, a living trust, or any
Oh,
of that stuff?" VA does that for you now.
wow. That's another, yeah. We aren't super, like, we don't get all the updates necessarily in a super timely manner. Iowa, I feel, does pretty good, but I think that's great. That
Yes.
is good because it's so necessary.
And see, and I want to thank you for helping out one of my friends, their child, and everything. I'm going to only bring this up a little bit. Is these young kids who are getting out, some of the stuff that they go through is pretty devastating, and stuff that's happened to them, and they need the guidance of the older vets, along with VSO officers, to kind of guide and help them. But what a lot of veterans out there don't know, and all y'all listen to me, if you live in Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina, or you live on the West Coast, you don't have to use that VSO officer. Am I correct? In your area or your state, correct?
You don't. If you just I'll just give you some anecdotes from my own personal life. My family lives throughout the United States. My brother was discharged from Fort Meade, Maryland, and married a gal from Pennsylvania. So my nieces live out there, and one of them is married to a veteran who was, having trouble finding any help with a VSO, and they were home for the summer, and they kind of want to make a move from the East Coast to the Midwest, but he's like, I kind of need to get this VA stuff, squared away. And he's like, running into, I have no idea what to do. He had just tried it on his own, and just ran into some roadblocks. So we have him on the path, so if any veteran reaches out to a VSO and you can give them just I'm just not getting any help here, I just need help, then any VSO is obligated to help any and all veterans that walk through their door. At least that is the policy of Hardin County, Iowa. Can I speak for every county in the world, in the United States?
Right.
No. But in Hardin County, Iowa, if a veteran reaches out, no matter where they're from, I am happy to help them.
But
And
I
you know,
am
like,
learning that East Coast and West Coast VSO officers are not like the Midwest, the South. I mean, I'm finding out, like, I'm talking to people all the time, and they're veteran service officers. They just don't really help them. They're just like, nah, no, no, no. But yet they're presumptives. And this is which we have one person who is listening right now, and I'm not going to say any names to that person, but they better get a hold of you by tomorrow, or I'm going to just hound them.
Oh,
yeah,
And
I'm happy
so,
to give my email address. It is JBUCK Buck at Hardin, HARDINCOUNTYIA.gov. And my brother-in-law was just visiting from the West Coast. He lives in Eureka, California, and he always tells me that the Midwest cares more about their veterans than where he's from. He's a Navy vet,
you're
nuclear,
right.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
nuclear,
if
carrier. So yeah,
like one of the like my veteran service officer, I've been dealing with her. I was probably her very first uh veteran. And I mean, that woman has fought for me for 35
I
years.
was gonna say you have had a good experience too. And so yeah, it's
Oh,
like
yes, yes. And I mean, I recommend, she finally called me. It's like, I'm retiring this year. Stop.
you're gonna have to be done now.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Well, they're
And
bringing in
that's the
more.
thing. Like you do create a connection with the folks that you're helping,
And
yeah,
anybody who's listening who don't have a job and you want a job, your state VSO officers, you can apply. You can learn the field. That's
You
the one
can.
thing.
Yeah, you do not have to be a veteran necessarily. I am not. I am married to one, but I myself am not a veteran. So I'm an administrator, but I am nationally accredited and absolutely love my job. So I don't think it's like a barrier that I'm not a veteran. Sometimes, honestly, I think it's a little bit of a gift because there's a lot of secondary trauma going on, right? When you deal
Right.
with these things. And so the fact that I didn't have that exact military experience, it's not always taken me right back there. I have a different experience. So I can just compartmentalize it. So for me, I think maybe like it might be a blessing, but that's just me.
So
well, and I know Jannetta, and I'll top or I'll agree with what Kevin said at the beginning. Because you're my VSO, and you've done you when I've reached out to you and asked for help. I got neighbors that needed help, and you do your due diligence, and you don't just make a phone call and check in. You follow through, and I think that's what you know you communicate with people, you follow through, you want to know how they are, you actually give a crap about them, and you're not just sitting there collecting a paycheck. And unfortunately, some of our others, it's sad
on
to
the
say,
east to
I
west
feel
coast.
I feel that they're just kind of collecting a paycheck and not doing what they're asked to do.
But
But
We call that like
that
keeping the oxygen level up at the office.
well, okay, so here's one for you. Okay, so I had gastrointestinal problems ever since I was in the military. When I got out of the military, my paperwork literally said, and this is going to go for 90% of the people who listen to this podcast, is mine said service connected, GERD, digestive system disorder. Digestive system disorder back then is now considered IBS. They gave
Right.
me nothing.
Were you
And-
just connected at 0%?
No, no. Well, I was connected. I was
They didn't give you
connected, but
0%.
didn't give me anything. They just
What?
said you're connected.
Like if you look at your record, does it say, sir, like it lists all yours? It lists all of your issues, and then it says, like, I mean, you could be 0%, and that's
no,
still
it just
connected.
it didn't even say zero. It didn't even say
Would
zero.
just deny it?
Yes. And so whenever I got the IBS, I talked to my VSO and I said, would it be worth to go back all them years where they said there was no records that I had this, even though I was service connected, and fight for that back pay? And she looked at me, she said, no. She said, all they're going to do is deny it.
Unfortunately, did you eventually get service connected?
Oh,
Chris?
yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I got service connected, and then I just didn't fight it anymore. I was just
See,
like,
it's kind of weird.
I know
'Cause
that
that
is
was
like
my
the worst thing you have to say to somebody is this. That's not how the VA works.
that's right.
My
It's true.
my first service connection was exactly the abdominal for 0%. I actually was given a rating of 0% on the first go round.
And
Which
it's so
0% is the worst thing. Like everybody thinks like that's a loss, but it isn't, man. Like if you die and that's a complication of your death, then your wife can she can get DIC.
and that's why I tell
really, even
everybody,
at 0%,
Even at
yes,
0%.
0%, you have to be connected
Yeah.
with what you die with.
can
Correct?
you
So like all
elaborate
the
on that a
Vietnam
little?
guys who are, so mad that they're getting 0% hypertension. I mean, it's controlled. Like according to VA regulation, that's 0%. But that's not the worst thing. If you die of a heart condition that has something to do with your hypertension, then your wife will get DIC. So it's still worth filing for.
Can you
Exactly.
elaborate on what DIC is, Jannetta?
Yep. DIC is in an indemnity dependent compensation. So if your husband is service connected with a respiratory cancer, let's say Agent Orange respiratory cancer, and that leads to his demise, and that condition is listed on his death certificate, then you can apply for DIC as his spouse, and you are entitled to it's about a $1,350 monthly compensation for the rest of your life. So it is worth it.
Well, you
It's
know,
worth it.
also on this is I have a Vietnam vet that I sent him to my VSO. He comes in and he tells me today at the barbershop that, and I have like 4 or 5 of them that are now starting to get rated, but one of them got $150,000 check. They back paid him because of the location where he was and what he did at that time, and how much Agent Orange they believe he was exposed to. That's according to what he's telling me. I don't know if it's true. I believe him. Well, I don't know why he would lie.
Well, so the back pay goes back to like the first date that you would have filed for that condition. So likely this guy was maybe in appeals.
No,
appeals.
because another one of my customers, he just randomly got a check, never filed. They did file for the cancers way back when, years ago. So that's probably what it was. They probably related, okay, it's a presumptive under the Agent Orange, and now we're going to pay. That I guess that's the way it works. But filing is the key thing, everybody, and doing your dang homework. Like, know what the presumptives are. That's why you got a VSO officer. That's why.
Well, yeah, and recently, we've had a few caregivers through the VA that notice presumptives, and they give their veterans a sheet of paper with a list of presumptives on it and my name and number. from the VA healthcare. Like, I've seen 3 of those in the last month. I've never seen that in 6
That's
years.
because you loved.
I'm like, hallelujah to these care providers who are realizing that there's a connection between some of these diseases and being service connected. So that has been a really good thing.
And
Hey,
it really is. It really is. I know John has some questions that one of our guys had, and so
right.
let's get to that.
So yeah, Wade brought up a good point. He wanted me to ask, and I guess this is kind of interesting. So Jannetta, so Wade wanted to talk about the different ratings at 100%, and you know how that works. Like it, what's it? The classifications of 100% and what it means. Or can you go over that a little bit?
Right. So if you are at 100% service connected disability, then you're at 100% service connected disability and you get that nice check every month. And you really don't have any ties to it. If you want to
But he was
take
like,
a job, if you want to earn some money, you can. That's
yeah,
okay.
but see that was the question, because he was saying if you're at permanent and total versus
Right.
100%
Yes.
disabled versus TDIU, that sort of thing.
Yes. So that's what, yeah. So I'll move into that. So you're just 100%. And you don't see that very often, honestly. But if you are, you could work, and collect your 100% disability check. Okay. If you're 100% permanent and total, you cannot. If you're 100% under unemployability, you cannot earn money, or the VA will frown upon that and reduce your rating.
Okay, so if you're like when you talk about 100% total and permanent, you cannot work.
No.
No. Okay, but if you're
100%
just
permanent total. I mean,
100%,
you can work, but it will affect your disability rating.
really? But how do you know if that's? I guess is it on a sheet of paper, like when they classify it? Like
I don't know. I don't know any, honestly, 100% P and T, because that means that they've been 100% for at least 15 years, likely 20, that even can work. So it's kind of a misnomer, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
The permanent and total is like you're permanent and total.
Yeah, you should also be on Social Security disability on top
Yes.
of that. Okay. That okay.
Employability is, you're just unemployable because of XYZ, ABC, could be many things.
Okay, now
employability means you cannot work. So
right.
you're rated at 70% and you apply for unemployability and you get granted that, and then you're paid at the 100% rate, because that's what unemployability means, then you can't work.
Okay.
So you can't, just to clarify, you can't show any income, because if you do, you're really kind of screwing yourself.
Right.
Okay. Because
For
I asked that.
and for unemployability. Now, again, if you're just rated at 100%, because I mean, shit's fucked up, but somehow you're still working, or you went through voc rehab, and they helped you find a job that you can do, because work, we all know, like, work is important, then you can retain that 100% level.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't. I thought when I mean I know a lot of people who are 100% and they're all saying total permanent. I'm like, are you just saying it? Are you sure?
I mean, it would be on their benefit letter, like,
yeah. Well, it would also
so the
be
benefit letter that you give for, like, do they have tax exemptions in Texas? In
yes,
Iowa,
yes.
if you're 100%, then you get a property tax exemption and you don't have to pay your property
Well,
taxes.
but at 100%, if you're just 100% total, you don't pay property taxes. You don't have to be total permanent. As long as you're
Right, if you're
100%.
just at 100%, you don't,
Yeah.
just at Yeah. And if you're paid at the 100% because of unemployability, you're also eligible for that tax break.
Yeah. Okay. I
So
see
let's
that. I see that.
let I want to have you expand on that because I'm genuinely curious. So about the property tax. So I decide I want to move. I want to get closer to Des Moines or something like that. I go buy a new house or not new, different house. Okay. I don't have to worry about the property tax, the annual property tax on that when I buy it. Is that correct or is that not correct?
Not generally. We have home rule here in Iowa, so every county does their own thing to a point. And that's one of the things. Generally, there's a year lag, a year where you have to pay property taxes before you're
Oh,
exempt.
that's
Kicks
interesting.
in if you
Well,
move. Mhm.
that's why I
That's
asked
what
because I
I've
don't know
seen.
what I don't know.
That's what I've seen historically. Yeah.
And
So
and
are you moving?
a lot of people don't realize, which I am going to say this, and I don't mean this in any other bad way or anything towards anybody out there. But when somebody passes away, they have to do what's called an emergency. Maybe you can tell me the name of it, where they go to the VA, say, "Hey, my husband passed away. I need a burial, and this, and this," and they have to write in for an emergency uh, confirmation that they can have it.
Like to pay for their cremains?
Well, it not only cremains, but for a funeral site, if they just want to be buried and all that. And so they do, it's called like a rush. They rush it through. But I was also told in the state of Texas that I know this much. I don't know about anywhere else. In the state of Texas, you can go ahead and already prepare that for later on down the road because it could take up to 5 years to get approved.
Wow, 5 years?
Yep.
Yeah, in Iowa, it doesn't take that long. In Iowa, we have 2. Well, actually, I guess 3 if you wanna come the Rock Island Arsenal just right across the border in Illinois, but, um, there is the Veterans Cemetery down by Adel, Iowa, and, yeah, you can do that ahead of time, and, veterans are buried there for free, and, of course, they get a tombstone, through the VA, or they can be, like, in the crematorium wall. Crematorium? Yeah, crematorium. But as far as like paying for funeral services or like the cremation itself, at least here in Iowa, that is on a local level and that comes from local taxes that we have for indigent veterans. But we definitely do pay for that.
Oh, you guys pay for cremation?
Yeah, for low income veterans who don't have many means, we will pay for their cremation.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Now,
not for any, but I mean, if you know,
Got to meet the
don't have
guidelines, the
any
minimum.
means and yeah,
Oh, okay. All
yeah.
right.
But you can, yeah, like I'm already signed up. I'm heading to the Veterans Cemetery in Adel. So, because your wife can be there, buried there or put in the wall too. So,
Huh.
yeah. Yep. And you can do that
Okay.
or you
oh,
can do that as needed. Like I've done it both ways. But I mean, at least in Iowa, we don't have a 5-year waiting list. I mean, and that's part of being a veteran service officer. Like I make friends with people everywhere I go. So that if I need something ASAP, then they're happy to do it for me because I dropped off donuts and introduced myself.
well, so I want people to understand a couple of things. When let's say I'm driving my truck and I get into an accident because of my great driving. Um, John doesn't like my driving, by the way. Um, and let's say I pass away.
In the big
My
city.
wife gets my wife gets no benefits from the VA, correct? It
If you're
has to be
driving and die in
something
a car
I
crash.
am, huh?
If you are driving and die in a car crash,
Right. She
right?
w- right. She wouldn't get. I'm using that as an example,
That's
but
correct. The only
but
way a spouse is entitled is if you die of or as a consequence of a service-connected disability.
if I die in a car wreck, John, have this thing erased and just say it was my neuropathy. Okay. All right. All right. Anyway,
I mean, and
so
it could be like I've honestly, like I have called and asked physicians to change death certificates because a lot of times physicians don't realize how the VA works, and these veterans, even though they utilize VA healthcare exclusively, upon the time of their death, it is their local hospital that is picking them up, and a local coroner or the local physician that is determining the cause of their death. So they don't know. They don't know how the VA works. So I've called them up honestly and explained that, this dependent, this surviving spouse, this veteran had been entitled to this benefit, and in order for her to continue on with that benefit, his death also needs to be like his other issues need to be listed as a consequence of, because
Oh,
like
see,
they are as a consequence of. And
Okay.
it's
that's
not really that
interesting.
big of a deal for them to change it. They just have to log in, change it, updated birth certificate or death certificate, not birth, sorry.
That-
And then we're good to go.
Okay.
So
So I know this is probably going to be one of my last questions, but if I ended up tomorrow find out that I have cancer, I would go to like you and say, I want to file on this because
me,
well,
yep,
I'm, or to a VSO, any VSO, you want to file on anything that is a presumptive that could possibly kill you, correct?
ASAP, yes,
Okay.
yes,
So,
absolutely.
so all y'all
So
understand
for the
that.
Gulf War vets, we're talking about respiratory issues. And if you're having respiratory issues and you're just dealing with them on a daily basis, go see your VA doc. Just get it documented. Have them
So,
send you the prescriptions that they think you should take. And if they don't work for you, who cares? We just need a current diagnosis to get you service connected.
Okay. And that's what I'm trying to, the PACTAC really truly helps a lot with, and I've realized this post 9/11, them people get their claims back quick decisions.
Yeah, yeah.
Go for
Lots of good
vets,
things happening with the VA. There are. Yeah.
right? But go for vets, I can honestly tell you, like one of my friends has been waiting almost 2 dang years, and
No, I
then
feel bad for you guys and the Gulf War syndrome. Even to try to get like a VA doc to diagnose that is hard. Um,
they don't
and
want to.
outside doctors, like I've sent them literature, they just can't compute. And like the thing about like Gulf War syndrome is like it's such a holistic thing. It is affecting one part of your body that is affecting another part of your body that is it is a holistic thing.
but
So
I want to tell you. So I went to my kidney doctor, and I sat down. I talked to her for a good hour. And she was interested in Desert Storm. I told her about the podcast, and she's like, "Look, I want to learn more." But because they're not taught a whole lot. What she was saying, but she cares. I can
yeah,
honestly
and you
say
do
it.
run into those providers, thankfully. And honestly, I do think that the VA is trying to educate providers more on presumptives, but it's a slow process. It
And
just is.
right,
I mean,
and
I don't, it just is. And you have to have the desire to learn. So,
right, and
Yeah, you have
you
to
also
advocate for yourself for sure. Yeah.
yeah. And so don't sit back on your asses and not do anything. If y'all know anybody in the Gulf War, you listen to shows saying, well, my buddy's got that, or my brother, my sister's got that, and they were in the Gulf War. Help them fight to get what they deserve. That's what
yeah.
I believe in.
Another great benefit that our state did that has gotten a lot of Gulf War vets into my office talking to me about, things they may be entitled to was the hunting and fishing, lifetime hunting and fishing license if you're service connected. So
Oh,
a lot, as you know, a lot of veterans love to hunt, they love to fish, they heard about this through the DNR. So they're like thinking about applying for some service connected disabilities where they had never even considered it before.
Is it
So that has
50%?
been so whatever it takes to get you in my office.
Is it 50%?
Nope, in Iowa you can be 0%.
Shut the front door, state of Texas. Catch your butts up, man, because you got to be
0%,
50%.
baby.
You can get the super
And I don't
combo
know a
for
veteran who
nothing.
doesn't have hearing loss or tinnitus, so
Shut the front. I need to tell my wife we're moving to Iowa. Y'all
Now,
got bigger deals.
St. John,
yeah.
we're
Well,
into the end of the snow. The dark days are coming in. The winter is coming.
yeah, yeah.
And you know what is so crazy to me about all this is that you know, people will go to DAV, they'll go out and get an attorney, and there are special cases that need an attorney. I understand that there are, but give your local VSO or give another state's VSO officer a chance
Yeah, and if you don't
to
like
do
one in
that.
your county, go to the next county. So, like, I'm the only one in my office. I run solo, so I am cross accredited with the American Legion and a few other, the big six organizations, so that I can always have another set of eyes looking at my claims. And which doesn't really happen that often, if something were to go into appeal at the BVA level, then I have access to those resources to get folks representation pro bono. It's happened twice in my 6 years, both claims that I just like came upon as I came into this job, and have won both. So, the American Legion at a federal level, the VFW at a federal level, like those guys are not insignificant. They are still working for you guys.
Wow,
That's
So
you've
right.
been there 6 years already.
I worked in Grundy for 5, and
Oh,
I've been
that's right.
Eldora for like a year and a half now in Hardin.
That's right. That's right. You had shared that with me. I forget. I was like, wait a second. You've been up
Yeah.
there 6 years.
So 6 years and some change, yeah, later, but still
So
loving it
here's
every day.
a here's a question, Janetta. I don't know if you're going to have an answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So if you get rated at 100%, okay, or you get paid at 100%, and you go, like, if I want to go to Camp Dodge and you get your military disability ID, okay, what will that ID enable you to do? What is the benefit of having that?
Well, you can shop at PX's, which I've heard
Okay.
Camp Dodge is not that great, but
I am. I haven't been at the one at Camp Dodge. I haven't got my ID yet. I'm just asking you because I really don't know the answer to the question,
And then,
other than it would
like,
let
the
me in
kind
a
of
base.
unique benefit it offers you is, a lot of military bases have like housing for visitors. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
not
sure.
hotel
Okay.
rooms, but or camping,
Hey, that
camper.
you just.
What?
Oh, you know what? You just.
I lived on
If
Guam.
hey, on that one, if I were to get that ID, I could go to a concern in Germany and stay on a military housing. Ooh, that would save a ton of money for
Yeah.
Oh
lodging.
yeah, that's what I
So
want to do. Go back on army base.
right. I was like,
What
I
the
like say
hell?
that tongue in cheek because like I was like, I told that to my husband who's service connected. He's like, are you freaking crazy?
Right.
It's fun, like not knowing. Yeah.
Well,
I do want to take about a minute of everybody's time, and I would like to talk to y'all about our sponsor, Magic Minds. So Magic Minds is our sponsor that sponsors our show. And when they got a hold of me, they wanted me to try this product. And you can kind of see the labels and everything. And we're going to put it up on our website. But I'm going to tell y'all, I've been now another week taking this product. And I have a customer who literally, I'm going to tell them this story, John. I had a customer who went and ordered a whole bunch of this. He goes, well, I'm going to give it a shot. The first, and literally, it is a shot. And literally, this clearly cleared up his head. That's the first thing he noticed. The guy's 88 years old. He had the amount of energy that he had was amazing. And that's the one thing I will tell y'all about Magic Mind is this product here. Not only did it give me energy, my fatigue, I could work all day and not be tired. And that's what I like about this product. The taste is fine. I mean, I've tried that, you know, that 5 wet shot thing you get, energy, can't say their name,
Mhm.
but
Oh,
if I
5
had to
hours.
compare it, right, if I had to compare Magic Mind to that, this tops the best thing I've ever drank for energy. I mean, the clarity, I mean, the brain fog, everything. Some of my coworkers don't love it because I'm hyper as it is. But this right here, the amount of energy it gives me, I mean, John can tell you I got a lot of energy. This will
Yep.
give you some energy. This will give you some boost in your butts right here. All right. And it will get you going. And you know, y'all give it a shot. You can order it on Amazon. But I mean, I want to thank them for being our sponsors. They reached out and they were like, Kevin, would you be willing to try this? And I was like, I'll try anything. And I wouldn't put anything on my show I didn't believe in. And so y'all go check out Magic Mind on Amazon. Order it. Just give it a shot. I'm telling y'all, it will work for y'all as it done for me. But where I want to get back with you, Jannetta, on one other thing I thought about. So one of my customers was sitting in my chair. Me and him were talking about benefits and where where can a person go to look at all their presumptives? Because I told him to go on to va.gov and type in Vietnam. I had him going, presumptives.
Yeah, so it's a lot about the search words that you use. So if you go on va.gov, you want to type in Agent Orange presumptives or Agent Orange disease. And then it will take you to the list of because there's a list of cancers and then there's a list of other conditions that are presumptive.
Okay.
Yep. So same with any other like Camp Lejeune or Gulf War, you want to type in specifically Gulf War presumptives or Gulf War diseases. Mm-hmm.
So I thank you for coming on. I mean,
Pleasure.
I tell you what, you're a blast to talk to. It's not going to be the last time you're going to be on, I guarantee you, because I'm going to be bringing you back going, hey, I
That's
found out
okay.
some more stuff.
There's
but,
always more to learn
uh,
and always
but,
more to do. And I
but,
know I just want to spread the message. I know that it feels like it's like you all against the VA, but if you find an advocate that can help you, it's not. It's not. Like I talk to VA, federal and VA employees all the time, and man, they want to work for you. They want to work for you. But the VA is the VA. So it's certain words, it's semantics, it's the box being checked. So it
and,
is what it
and, and,
is.
and what it does for a veteran service officer, when you're sitting down with them, they're going to tell you what your primary things to put down, your secondaries,
Very.
your
Mhm.
secondary dairy, on that.
Yeah, because I run it, prostate cancer is a presumptive for Agent Orange.
Right.
Hmm.
And so
I run into a lot of guys and never even thought to file a claim until finally they retired and got into VA healthcare. And their provider is like, you need to go talk to your veteran service officer about that. So at that point, it would the cancer would be rated at 0%, but the residuals could be rated, like prostate cancer, like erectile dysfunction. And I'm sorry, like Agent Orange vets should be paid for that. And their wives are not happy about the situation. Just saying. So,
I can tell you right now that my wife is learning a lot about the system. Oh, the other thing, right before we get off, everybody, tell everybody the importance of even if you're, you're service connected and stuff like that. But if you have veteran insurance or, or the VA and you have an emergency, explain
oh,
to people why it's important. Go straight to your nearest hospital and don't drive an hour and a half to the VA because a lot of people do not know about that part.
let me see if I have that number right here in front of me. Um, okay, folks. So if you have an emergency you can go to the nearest emergency room. And a lot of times that facility will call the VA. You alert them that you have VA healthcare. They will alert the VA that you're there. But there's also an 800 number, and I will find it for you, that you call. And it doesn't have to be the veteran. It can be the spouse, it can be a brother, it can be anybody, to let the VA know within 72 hours that you're at and out of the system emergency room. Now, what will happen is if it's extensive, if it's serious, and if there is a bed at a nearby VA facility, they will stabilize you and they will transport you to that nearest VA facility. But you still need to call within 72 hours and say that you were at an ER that is not a VA medical center. And that is how your emergency room visit gets paid, and it works. And when you call, they will give you an authorization number. And if they don't offer it, then you ask for it. And then that magic number guarantees that you called and let the VA know that you were there with your husband at this time, at this date, for this reason.
And
see now, you just said author. See, and I hadn't heard
know
that.
that.
So that's great news. That's great information right there, Jannetta. Because I was just in the ER this last Saturday, and I did call and report it, but now I didn't know to ask for an authorization number. So that's good to know.
Yep. Ask for an authorization number.
And the phone number is
Okay.
1-844-724.
Oh, you got it. Awesome.
7842. Thanks to Christy.
I don't have any. Yeah, everything in my office is at my fingertips.
Right. Right. And that's the number to call. I'm going to say it one more time. 1-844-724-7842. And so that is important for everybody to know.
Yeah. My brother was just there. Where we live, John will know this. Iowa Falls is kind of a dead zone, right? For VA healthcare. Yeah. My brother lives up there and has some respiratory issues. And he just moved there not too long ago. So he would have, went to a VA medical center where he lived before, but he's like, what am I supposed to do? And I was like, just go to the ER. I'll call the number. And yeah, I just asked for the authorization number. And then if there's any discrepancy down the road, you have that number. The magic number.
I actually think.
Well, that's good to know, because I didn't know. Now I know. Ask for the damn number. I think
I was in St. Luke's, and I called the 1-844 number while I was there. I said, I don't care. I just cracked my freaking tooth and I'm in so much pain. And they're like, well, what can they do for it? I said, right now I was pretty much laying upside down, and that doctor was trying to cement some stuff in there, a sealer in there. I was oh my God, that was painful. But
my husband thought it was a good idea to get a mandolin. You know what I'm talking about? Like that you slice potatoes with. He ordered it. I was like, oh, that's a bad idea.
A mandolin.
Yeah, cut off the tip of his thumb. So we had to go to the ER.
Oh my
God.
Hell.
Oh, hell no.
Grundy, which is, like we're not, again, Grundy, where we are, we're not close to any VA medical.
No. Well, see,
so we are utilizing.
You live in Grundy,
depending on community care. So, and
I go to Grundy if I have an emergency. That's where
I was cutting it during the COVID. So I decided I was going to build these benches, picnic. I thought it was being cool. The very first cut, I didn't realize I left a piece of wood on the edge. When I went down with it, it came around and slammed my thumb. And man, it turned purple. I'm over there, and I mean, I was in so much pain, I was like going to throw up. So I started thinking about it. I said, I can either go to the hospital or. So the next day, the doctor calls me. She's like, did you go to the hospital? I was like, no, because I called the VA. And she was like, well, why don't you come in here? I said, well, aren't all y'all going to do is relieve it by either drilling into my thumb or. So that's what I did myself.
No.
My husband said, he's like, I'll just cut this off. I'm like, No,
I did.
no, like we're gonna have some professional person cut this off.
I got the smallest drill bit I got, and I drilled into my thumb, and man, it released the pressure. My doctor was like, "Are you an idiot?" And I
It
said,
was a
"It
Friday
worked."
at 4. I just got home from work like at 4:30, and I'm like, I looked at him, I was like, "What's wrong with you?"
Big blue.
You know, that I always watch them shows why the funny commercials are on YouTube, like why men die younger.
Because they don't know how to pay bills.
I'm the
I always
product.
hear that too. I'm
Yeah,
totally
yeah.
gonna go before
Don't pay
you.
bills,
Lord
but I'm the
knows.
product of that. Like, you know what? I could climb up there with that crooked ladder with missing one of the braces.
We
I'm
don't need
like,
to
what
tie
my
that ladder
weight?
off. Come on.
Yeah. But thank you so much for coming on, and
Yeah, thanks
everybody,
for having me, guys. It's been a real pleasure.
thank y'all for
Yeah,
listening. And
just hang
John,
tight a second.
yeah, hang tight, Jenna, just for a little bit. We're going to go into the after show, but thank y'all for listening. And thanks for Magic Minds once again for sponsoring us. Thank you.